So let's dig into why folks turned into this podcast today. What are some key indicators that your pet has allergies?
I think it's really important to recognize the signs. And that's not something that's intuitive. Like we talked about earlier, the signs of our allergies as humans are not the same as the signs of the allergies as dogs, and dogs are not the same as cats. So it is important that you know what to look for. So if we were to kind of break it up when it comes to dogs, I think most of us know if you have a dog that's itchy, we need to think about allergies. I do also want to remind you all that if you have an itchy dog, they can also have something like an ectoparasite, like fleas. So there's a number of different things that can cause your dog to be itchy, but an itchy dog certainly could be an allergic dog. Paw licking or licking in any way, shape, or form is another thing. I have a lot of clients that think that licking is just a soothing behavior, but in general, licking we consider to be an itchy behavior. So if you have an animal that just comes in and constantly licks their paws, that absolutely could be a sign of an allergy in a dog. We've mentioned ear infections a number of times, and there's a reason. Again, ear infections are not something we commonly see as humans with allergies, but in our dogs, absolutely. Chronic recurrent ear infections in dogs is 100% a sign that your pet might have an allergy. And that could be an environmental allergy or potentially even a food allergy there too. Now, when we talk about dogs as well, I also want to mention things like what I call the sofa shuffler. So if you have the dog that loves to just rub their body along the sofa, or the dog that's just constantly rubbing and rolling on the carpet, that's also potentially a sign of an itchy dog. They don't have to just scratch themselves. They can also be super rolly, rolly and rubby, if you will. So if you've got a dog that's constantly rolling and rubbing, remember that can be another sign of allergy. And when it comes to kitties are not going to be the same as dogs. So they don't tend to be the ones that lick their paws. They may or may not get ear infections, but that's less common in our kitties. What we more often see in cats is that over-grooming, right? What we call traumatic hypotrichosis. What that means is the cats are just licking themselves to the point of fur loss. That's probably the most common sign of allergies that we see in cats. But other things we can see, sometimes cats can actually develop what's called eosinophilic granuloma complex. So they get these cool red skin lesions on their body. That's a sign of allergies in cats. And then facial pruritus or itching their heads. Dogs are not as much facial itchers. Cats can really go after their face when they have allergies. So important to know that if you see any of those clinical signs, that could indicate that you have an allergy in your cat.